Da-ba-da-boo. Da-ma-na-ma-ma-mam. Greetings. Hi DJ Dave, how are you doing? Well, what's your take on all this and that's just been going on? Me personally, I've had a sneaky feeling about this for many weeks now. Especially as the results have started to come in, and our league position. I've just had that feeling, and you can't escape the truth, and the truth is eventually coming out. And I think Roy Keane was the key to unlocking this, because there's a lot of people now with demanding answers. You know why we failed on getting Keane, without a doubt. How are you doing, Jeff? Are you okay? It's been a crazy night. Just like I say, not at all surprised. It's going to be very interesting. The Stadium Light on Saturday. There's going to be such a raucous atmosphere. It's going to be crackers like, but it's Sam and Pants and Donald's own fault and the whole lot of them, to be honest with you. Well, without a shadow of a doubt, DJ Dave. I mean, I think that's the reason why Keno literally walked away. I mean, a lot of us had a funny inkling about it. I did. There was rumours about like Keno wanted 50k to, and it's got it's no to do with that. I mean, can you imagine Roy Keane sitting amongst them three stooges, Sam and Pants and Donald and Co. It's like he's just gonna bolt for the door. He really is. He's just gonna bolt for it. That's just there's nothing more else really you can expect it to do. So I don't know where you guys think we can go on here. Where can we go from here? I mean, it must have been killing Keno really because I do think he wanted to come to the club, and I just don't think he had a Scooby Doo of the setup that was awaiting him when he walked through the doors for his interview. I don't think he realised what was going on, but there was something fishy definitely happening. Hello, Nigel. How you doing, fella? I just think when them nearly 2 weeks were like, have we got Keno or not? There was a rat away. There was something wasn't right. Something just was not right at all. I'm there for a drink as well. I cannot reach that. Um, hello, Patrick Ward. How you doing? Nice to see you, fella. But yeah, when we waited for a week to find out, I think Nigel, to be honest with you, hi Patrick Ward, if you've said hello. Nigel Dunn says, do you think Keno would have let the cat out of the bag? I definitely think Keno has a lot to do with that. I definitely think he's cracked the code, to say the least. Put it this way, I think it's opened the door because there was no real excuse why Keno couldn't come here. I believed he would come here, and I think even the pundits on the TV believed Keno would come. And why wouldn't he? There's no reason why not. And then of course the interview started, didn't there? And he eventually found out what was behind the scenes, and I didn't blame him. I literally don't blame him from being a runner. Nigel Dunn also says it shocked me how they had me over. Yeah, there's quite a lot of Sunderland fans have had the wool pulled over their eyes massively. Um, I mean, at the beginning of the season, they did with me, but what let the cat out of the bag out for me was the fact the second transfer window when we just bought absolutely nothing. It was literally a carbon copy from the other seasons when Donald sort of first took over. There was no change in our transfer window. There was it was just the same bargain buys or kids we've never heard of and freebies. And I thought, well, there's a pattern forming here from the last transfers. There's just something not right. And then most importantly of all, there's the league position where we're at. Um, Once again, we're copying the exact trend when Donald took over. At this part of the season, we're falling quicker than a lead brick in a lake. And we're following suit. There's definitely a pattern emerging, and I think that's why the fans were getting more and more suspicious. It's like Keno, we couldn't get him, which we should have really had him nailed on. Um, B, the transfer windows, they've been shoddy as hell. We've hardly spent, and C, of course, the league position where we're at and the results. I mean, for God's sake, I mean, how far behind Wigan and Rotherham are we? I mean, and don't forget they've actually got games in hand on us. It's just shocking. It's just second-hand car salesman running of the club, and you can't hide from it because eventually it just shows. Eventually, it shows on the pitch, and us fans aren't stupid. But yeah, it's there's no turning back on it. To be quite honest with you, the Mad moderator says, "Hi DJ, how you doing, Mad? It's not a surprise. Keen on you." Said that so they had to let the truth out. um, well, yeah, I mean, when we noticed on ITV when he was asked, about, "Oh, you got the Sunderland job, Keen, or are you going to go?" And then he sort of said, doesn't he? He said, well, it's got to be right upstairs. It's got to be right. The contract's got to be right, basically, for me to take it. And the alarm bells sort of rang then. The fact, well, I mean, it's not as straightforward as we think. There's just something he knows that we don't. And of course, yeah, that's exactly what was going on. Patrick Ward says, think the interview, he turned up and thought, sod this, when he saw the shambles we were in. Remember, he saw how we were run short, once bitten, twice shy. Yeah, without a doubt, Patrick. I mean, especially with if Salmon Pants, Charlie Methven's sitting in there giving the interviews and that. I mean, can you imagine them three telling where Roy Keane is shit in the woods? Can you imagine them three telling Keano, them three cowboys? I mean, compared to where Keano's been, what he's done, he's seen and he's done it all. He's just going to laugh at those three, Donald and Co. I'm surprised he even lasted as long as he did with the interviews. I'm just now I'm not shocked. I don't blame Keane at all. As a matter of fact, if KLD, let's say, bought out or got 100% control, and decided to get a proper manager in, I really do think Keano wouldn't hesitate to come back. But he's not going to touch Sunderland with a barge pole as long as um, the way that setup is. I mean, if you look at the percentage of the ownership divided, to me, that also shows how we are on the pitch. That ownership share is a mishmash. It's like water and electricity mixed together. It's all over the place. And that shows on the pitch. That represents how we're playing on the pitch. We're all over the place. We've got no leadership. It's disjointed. Nobody knows what they're doing. And is there any wonder why we're going in free fall? It's just an absolute. It's just a mess. And what, the Sunderland fans are paying their hard-earned money, and you can imagine the shirt sales and everything will have gone up. And when KLD first took over, I mean, I think every Sunderland fan thought, "Oh, we're going to walk the league, billionaire coming in," because we all thought he was the outright owner, and we're all going to think, "Oh, but we're going to walk this league, get in the championship's ours." People are going out buying shirts. There was a buzz around the place, um, including myself. Um, and they've just been let down massively. They've turned up to the stadium, and for what? They're just like laughing at us, and we've got the best fans in the country, and they deserve a hell of a lot more. It'll be interesting. Apparently, he's attending a meeting, Red and White Army meeting. So it'll be interesting what the hell that KLD has to say. To be honest with you, Nigel Dunn. How complicit is Satori? Is he a user or being used? I think a lot of us about Satori. A lot of us are thinking, what the hell is he doing? What does he do at the club? He's like, it's just a figure of our imagination. It's like, yeah, we heard his name, but where is he? What's going on? He's just a big mystery. Mad moderator, Nigel Dunn. Satari father-in-law is as dodgy as hell. He wanted BL Presidente of Uruguay, and they said F off. And of course, smell a rat straight away. Patrick Ward, can you just imagine their cheesy smiles? And do you want anything, Roy? Water, beer. Yeah, I can just imagine what they would have offered Roy Keane. You know, I'd love to be a fly on the wall, or just invite Roy for a pint somewhere and just say, "Oh, I'll give you 250 if you keep quiet, £2.50 if you keep quiet." What in the hell went on in there? But you can just sort of picture them three wide boys, can't you? You know, Roy, this is what we're going to do. You're not going to have a say in who you sign. You're not going to have a say in this. And me and Methman's going to be taking charge of that. And he's Roy Keane will have just looked and laughed. But I bet you Roy Keane is frustrated at the same time because the fans were singing his name at the what match was it where they were singing his name when Defoe first came? Got a bloody mind freeze now. And they were singing Keno, Keno, and what does that say when they're chanting his name before he's even here? I mean, he'll have been aware of that. He'll have been aware that we're all singing his name, and surely the owners or whoever the hell is in charge would have spotted that too. But it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen with that current setup, and they're like a virus in our bloodstream. Them three, and as long as they're there, then the club's not going to get better or progress or go forward or anything at all. I've got bloody brain freeze. I'm trying to think who that game was. Defoe's first match in charge. Let's have a look. Oh, Wigan 1, Crew 0. That's a later score. There's no surprise there, is there? I should know who we played. I bloody watched it. Mm-mm. Yeah, of course, Doncaster. For God's sake. I don't know. Keno's definitely frustrated, without a doubt. DJ Dave has hit the nail on the head. Premier League fans with non-league clowns in charge, mate. Well, it certainly is the case now, isn't it? I mean, you look at the structure, the academy, like the stadium, the setup. I mean, we got 40,000 fans. When they donated £1 to the Bradley Larry Foundation, and you've got three absolute donkeys, running that club. It's as long as they're in that club, we will just not get out of Division One. It's as simple as that. They'll just not get out. I mean, who knows where they could end up? I mean, Stuart Donald came from, a non-league club, Eastleigh. Um, he would make us into a non-league club if the longer we keep with him. But what's really pissed the fans off is the fact the way they've gone about it, the way they've swept it under the rug, thinking like would not know. I mean, if you think Stuart Donald's gamble basically was when he lost it, is when he first took over, and the most crucial mistake he made is when he didn't sign Madja. If we'd have kept Madja, I believe we would have been promoted. I think the lad was wanting a few £1,000 more a week wage rise, and he didn't give him it, and so he left. And I believe if we'd have kept Madja, I think most definitely we would have gone up in the championship, and I think Stuart would have took his profit, and I think he'd have gone. He'd have been out of there. I mean, if you look at the Son Until I Die documentary, how frustrated Charlie Methven was when we lost the final against Charlton. That wasn't he wasn't frustrated the fact like he was in love with the club and he was disappointed because the club had lost the playoff final. His business gamble had just crumbled and collapsed right in front of their eyes. You could clearly see it. Even his wife was telling Charlie to just calm down. But he knew there and then when we didn't win that final, it was game over for them, and the promotion didn't happen because they were hoping that would go up and they would walk away with a big profit. But they made the bed in which they should lie in it because they didn't sign Madja. Big mistake. When's this meeting, DJ? Will Madrox be there? Good evening, Neil Thompson. How you doing, fella? Um, I don't know. I believe the meeting is tomorrow. It's people have selectively been selected. It's a private meeting somewhere. But my God, there's going to be some questions being asked there, I would say. I'm just going on some of the social media. Yeah, if proof of documentation came out to show KLD has control and financing on all matters relating to the day-to-day running of the club, all financial control and the board make decisions with him, um, that JS, CM, and SD are owners in the capacity to only invest if they see fit, and they're to be, if called upon, due to a specific skill set for a task to benefit the club. Would you just be happy? The share split alone doesn't dictate how the club operates, as owners can sign binding agreements to keep them away from the running. For me, this is the question that needs answering massively. And it's just mad, isn't it? How this is, where this has all started to come from is because all on the social media platforms, it's um, it's slowly starting to come out from the supporters. They are beginning to believe that, wait a minute, KLD doesn't have the ownership rights as he said he had. We were starting to work it out ourselves, and it grew into the thousands, into the thousands. We're more and more. We're seeing it on social media, and the pressure's just got to KLD, and that, and something has to happen. He can't lie anymore. This has to come out because the fans have actually cottoned on. I mean, Krill Lewis Dreyfus owns just 41%, if anybody doesn't know, of the League One club. Former ownership group retains the other 59. KLD, all shareholders remain fully committed to honouring their respective financial obligations. So, KLD is not the fully owner, is he? He's below that because the other three have got the bigger charge of it. Yeah, finally some clarity on the SFC ownership. Madrox still own the majority of the shares. Now we do know. Yeah, breaking ahead of tomorrow's supporter collective meeting. So it is tomorrow. They are doing a meeting tomorrow. Um, so it'll be interesting to see what the backlash of this is, without a shadow of a doubt. Patrick Ward says the three twats are the majority shareholders. When they put their holdings together, it's 59%. KLD blatantly has been ripped off. Wonder what he paid for his 41%. They hoped we'd get promoted and sell. Absolutely, without a doubt. But if KLD is a billionaire, which he's believe he is, then surely money talks. Why doesn't he just buy them out? Do you know what I mean? To take that step, and then we'll see the real KLD, what is actually what he's made of. That's a lot of people are saying, why doesn't he just do that? I'm going to read a lot of comments as well about this because it's everywhere. I mean, it's even at some point seventh of top from the main the news feed on Twitter. Um, Chris Brown has said they have misled the fans, and that's what most people will be mad about. No wonder Keno told him to do one. Colin Carter says, fed up with this club. It's just a business for these and are making a profit for themselves. Stuff the fans. Absolute from Kevin says, absolute shambolic, but not surprised. Absolute toilet of a football club ran by clowns. Well, I wouldn't say it's a toilet of a football club. It's a fantastic football club ran by three toilets, to be honest with you. It's an amazing, nothing wrong with the football club. It's the Three Stooges that's in it. Jonathan Seeds also said, don't know why supporters are surprised. We were told at the beginning that they were still held their stakes. I would presume that when the club eventually gets promoted, those shares will be bought out by KLD and the Three Stooges will eventually make money. But the key is, though, will Sunderland ever get promoted with their current setup? And I don't think they will. You know, I just don't think they will get promoted. Not under that current setup, and if they're not willing to spend or anything, I mean, there we go. Wigan have just got a second there now, 2-0 up against Crew. So the league table now stands. Wigan are now on 62 points, and we're on 55. And Wigan have still got 3 more games in hand. They've literally pissed all over us in the league. That's if they're looking at that's good business in this division. Well, it's not. It's absolutely embarrassing how far behind Rotherham and Wigan, Sunderland are. And ever since Sunderland's been in this division, they've constantly played catch up. From the first season when Luton went up, it's like we were miles behind them. It's like it's just not good enough, and the pattern is still following. I mean, Burton are beaten Bolton by 3 goals to nil. Burton 3, Bolton nil, and we lost 6 fucking nil off them. It's I'm not surprised the fans have cottoned on. I'm really not. I don't bloody know. Nigel Dunn, Methven and his considered conversation. The mad moderator, to be honest, if Ellis had said stuff and it dumped us in admin years ago, fucking depressing, isn't it? Would we have been better off? Well, hindsight is an amazing thing, isn't it? Spannerman, new book for Keno. He would come running back, Keno, if them three stooges just did their own thing and say the work they did go. In KLD says, Keno, do what you need to do. We'll give you all the support you need, and that would have been signed, sealed, and delivered. I believe if it was KLD in charge fully, I think when we heard that rumor on ITV when he was asked is he going to take the job, I think within the next day, the next 2 days, he would have been holding that scarf above his head. If it was just KLD and KLD was just committed for Roy Keane, and I think he would have been here. And there was that many sources on social media or Keena's agreed terms. Keena, well, it's a load of crap. It's like the clue was there when it took 2 weeks. It's something drastically has gone wrong. And Patrick Ward says, but KLD is a majority shareholder. They worded that very well. He is. We all know sort of now. But it just doesn't help the mess that the club's in. If we were top of the league and we were walking this division, the fans wouldn't be in uproar as they are, because I mean we're heading towards a 5th season in this division. There's any wonder why they're absolutely fed up. The mad moderator says, I think KLD still has his money tied up in trust fund till he's older. Well, I don't know whether that is a rumor mod or mad moderator or what that's about. Patrick Ward again says Rotherham at the weekend against Wednesday looked very good and dominating. They looked a class above compared to Sunderland. They just looked a total class above compared to what we were. And it's wrong. It shouldn't be the case. We're that far behind. But it's kind of made it interesting, hasn't it? There's a sort of excitement around the place now, but sort of bad excitement. Do you know what I mean? It's like this could be the final straw that broke the camel's back for Methven and Donald and co, because they didn't want to get on the wrong side of Sunderland, the Sunderland fans, because I tell you what, well, it's already happened. They'll not want to be anywhere near Sunderland the way the fans are with them. They don't want them anywhere near the club. They're the most loyal fans in the world, Sunderland. I mean, you look at the likes of Newcastle. Can you imagine how their fans would react? They wouldn't if they were us. We've been in this division for 4 years. We've had no protests. We haven't been outside the stadium. We've not done anything. We've just sat back and took it on the chin. We're too soft. I didn't know, but I really do think this is a step too far, and I think that you just it's going to be like an atomic bomb going off on Saturday. Without a doubt, it will be. Nigel Dunn, where are we at here? The Mad Moderator, according Swiss reports, is here to billion fortune but doesn't have it. Nigel Dunn, Methven's sales gimmick was considered conversation with a knowledgeable fans. The Red and White Army were paraded as those fans on SFC vlog. Patrick Ward again, also Keno working under Speakman. It was a disaster from the moment he started to look into his appointment. Three cunts interviewing him and KLD in the corner making the coffee. And, if that was the case, then I'd be surprised if Keno actually managed to walk into the interview room if we've seen them three donkeys. Because he'll have been aware. I'm sure he'll have seen the Sun Until I Die documentary, and he'll have been aware what they're like anyway. Um, Nigel Dunn. Now they're talking to them. It's hardly as impartial in each other's pockets. But whatever it is, it's dirty player, isn't it? I don't know if any of you lot watched or noticed on Sun Until I Die, the great the series that we've got, as depressing as it is. But you notice when Charlie Methven first gets into this room and he's got his whiteboard and he's got his meeting and he's got a graph and he's basically effing and blind and saying this business is fucked. We're going to be putting this right. This is how we're going to fucking do things. And just his attitude there. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but the staff that was sitting around, you could tell they were looking at him to say, "Who the fucking hell is this to?" You could tell. You could tell the way they were looking at him, saying like, "This guy's a wide boy, yeah." The way he just hurtles in, you know. And can you remember that press conference they did when it says this club's had the piss took out of them for years. The piss take stops now. It's somewhat not right. And they made it too they were too easy available for comments with fans. They were mixing with the fans. They were going Radio Newcastle. They were just like our mates. The way they were getting involved with the supporters hanging around outside the ground. Alarm bells were ringing for me. Then there was something just not quite right. And it's like, wait a minute, there's someone going on here. Wonder how many millions they made from Sun Until I Die. Absolutely no idea. It's just a shame. It was a depressing documentary, to be honest with you. Mad Moderator on plus side, we were expecting early spring in Switzerland on Saturday. A T-shirt weather, so I'll enjoy the great outdoors. Aye, but in a way, it's you cannot beat the Sunderland fans, can you? We all stick together, and that's what we do. It's with times like this. At the end of the day, the fans are the backbone of the club. They're the strength of this club. Doesn't matter what dirty player goes on, what money's going on. The fans, at the end of the day, the rule. You can't beat it. It's like the prime minister. If we're the ones that matter, and if we are unhappy and we all want him out, he'll have to go. So they've unturned the stone. Them three stooges, they've unturned the stone, and all the shit and all the bugs and everything's coming out, and we've sussed it out, and we're onto them, and we're onto them big time. Patrick Ward, do you still think we can go up, DJ? Well, if we do, it's only going to be the playoffs. There's absolute no way the top two is happening without a shadow of a doubt. It's only the playoffs, but goodness knows what the players think of all of this. It wouldn't surprise me if we're just in free fall now and we just crash out the playoffs. It wouldn't surprise me if we get thumped by MK Dons at home 3-0. And like I say, we're just jumping out of a plane without a parachute. The way things are going on, because it will affect the players. There's no stability at the minute. There's a crock of shit coming out from the people upstairs. Um, and it looks as if it's already evidence on the pitch how shite they have been. Do the players know something that that we don't? Um, that's another one. That's another one of the quality of the shirts went down this year. Says Nigel Patrick Ward. Once you're infected with Sunderland, you're unfortunately positive for life. Well, yeah, absolutely. And that's what the true supporters do. It doesn't matter how shite the team is, how depressed you are. You always will come back for more. Of course you do. And I think that's just part of being a fan. Slagging the team off and seeing how shite they are and how shite we are, and I'm not supporting this team again. Um, we all say that, but it's there. It's always there. I mean, just look on Twitter, look on social media, and the way the fans are going on. Of course, they care. Jermaine Defoe, I think that was a really good publicity stunt as well. It's going to, pull the wool over the fans' eyes a little bit more, because we were focusing on Defoe and nothing else. But at the moment, the current setup, it's been a complete waste of time getting Jermaine Defoe. He might as well not be here because the current setup, especially on that team, he's like the Lone Ranger out there. He's not going to get a look in. It's pointless. Pointless in being in the team. We might as well turn around and say, Defoe, thanks for coming, mate, but there's your bags. You can head back off wherever you want to go. I mean, he's done the good thing coming here. Um, he was get excited getting here as well, and now it's got our list to deal for. We were all thinking Defoe's going to come. He's going to smash this league. Now it's just a big soap opera of SAFC, isn't it? I mean, it beats Coronation Street and all that. It's just when you think there's no more twists and turns to come. Every time you wake up, there's something else going on at this club. There's something else happening. You think, what else? What else can go wrong? Do you know what I mean? What else? What more corruption can go on? Come out of this club? Um, but the longer Donald's here, the longer we're going to be here, and we've not played well really since we've been in this division. We've had the odd occasional game where we've done well, and we're thinking, yeah, we're going places here, but the majority of it, we've been shite. We're off the pace. We've been absolutely fucking awful. I mean, look how far we've fallen behind in the old Division 3. We were beating Rotherham 7-1. Um, and we're now looking at them and we're that far behind them. And we've got MK Dons on Saturday, and we're thinking that's going to be a hard game. MK Dons. I mean, how have they jumped ahead of us? We were miles ahead of them points. It just shows you how fucking far behind we've fallen. But watch this space because something will happen now, and I think it's a great thing for the club now for this to happen, because I think it's had to take something like this to happen to break break that connection. And I do think now this will be the finish of Donald and Meth, and I think they won't be able to stand it at this club anymore. The way the fans will go on after this. They thought they could hide it from us a bit more, and no, they can't. And they've got themselves to blame. And I'm actually quite pleased all this has come out because, like I say, the fans will realise now. Um, like I say, feel sorry for them. They're going to work hard. Some of them can't work. Some of them are on sickness benefits. Some of them have got disability benefits, but they still manage to put the funds together to support the team through thick and thin. And at the same time, they're just getting shit on by them Cowboys. We've not heard a thing from KLD, really, have we? He's not come out on a press conference or an interview. Speakman was interviewed by SAFC, but no KLD. There's a lot of answers, questions to be asked, and a lot of answers to be answered. Patrick once again says, "Do you think the wool has been pulled over JD's eyes? He's got rose-tinted glasses for us after all." Well, to be honest with you, I don't think Jermaine Defoe has had any ideas at all. what was going on. I mean, we've seen the pictures, haven't we? Where Jermaine Defoe shaking hands with KLD, as he enters the academy light, with his bomb, with his Kagul jacket on, with his furry hood. The moment he's literally, we all know that he's signed for us. I don't think he had any idea, what was going on. But he must feel like a bit of a lost soul at the moment because he'll be reading all this, what's going on. Of course he will. And he loves the club, Jermaine Defoe and stuff. And, of course he wants the club to do well. Um, but I was keeping an eye on Defoe when we played the last few games with him. And he's like lost. It's like I say, the team couldn't find the way next door with a sat nav. That's how lost the team is. That's how lost the players are. And Defoe's not a big striker. He's a small striker. He's the type of striker that likes to pounce on the prey, likes to pounce on the ball, do one touch, bang, get in. And and for that to happen, the ball has to be put into the box. Chances to be created, and there's none of that happening. The play at the moment we just go sideways, backwards. Massive, massive goal kick or long ball forward, sideways, backwards, or a misplaced pass. That's all we're doing at the minute. Oh, get a free kick, penalty, oh, we'll score. Defoe's just not going to get anywhere near that at all. At the moment, he's just a spectator, and I believe Defoe got a booking, didn't he, in his last game? Um, and I feel sorry for a bit Alex Neil as well coming in, having to deal with all this shit, because how is he supposed to get the team motivated when the club's just full of poison, and it's just a mess. Until KLD, Speakman, and Donald's gone, there's nothing any manager can do. There's nothing any player can do until them dirty players are gone. There's nothing that the club can do, and the fans are going to have to just suffer and suffer more. But at least, even though we had an idea, at least now it's been confirmed why we are in such a mess and why our league position's terrible. And like I say, the season's just literally been a copy and paste. The transfer window has been a copy and paste. We're getting players. Who the fucking hell is this player? Who's this? We're buying 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, mature has-beens that's coming in, and it's just like there was no ambition at all for the players we were signing. There was no ambition with them transfer windows of us getting out this hell of a division. And that's been the same for the first season, second, third season, and it's still the same on the fourth season. The transfer windows have been exactly the same. And that to me, especially when KLD presumably was taken over and the transfer windows were the same, that to me says something's not right here. KLD. I mean, I was saying on SAFC Fans TV and stuff on the chat and live streams that Stuart Donald's got more ownership than we think he is. And people were saying to me, "Oh, DJ, Earth, you're being crazy. Don't be so stupid. Of course, Donald hasn't got it." And that word has just spread around, and more Sunderland supporters are cottoning onto the idea that there is a pattern happening here, that this is not KLD running the club, and they've just put all the jigsaws together in one piece, and they can now see the picture, and the picture's now being shown that KLD, Stuart Donald still has a massive show in this club, and we all thought he was just in the back burner there, emptying the bins. So I mean, changing the condom machines and things like that. Far from it. We were even getting laughed at when we were saying, "Oh, Charlie Methven's in the interview room interviewing the managers." Don't be so stupid. That's not happening. I bet you bottom your ass it is, and it looked like it has as well. So we're never going to get a high-profile manager, and I just hate the coaches as well. Like I hate getting like a head coach. Why can't we have a manager who manages the team? Keno wouldn't have wanted a head coach. Keno would want to manage the team, do things his way, bring his own staff in, get his own players. That's Keno. He's been a leader for Manchester United, for God's sake. You know what I'm saying? He knows what he's doing, and he would have done the job right. Believe me, he would have done. But he wanted it his way, and why not? If you want out this division, for God's sakes, snap his hand off, take it, and say, Kano, it's all yours. Off you go. But not with KLD, and sorry, not with Donald Marlin. Mad moderator. If they carry on with KLD, coming out today was enough. Swiss schools, my kids have to be at their desk for 7:20 a.m. tomorrow. Try that middle winter. Complain it's middle of the night. I remember on the SAFC chat you getting shouted down, DJ. I don't think you're I don't think you're happy about being proven right. Yeah, I've said it for weeks, haven't I? That being oh, don't be so stupid, DJ Earth. I mean, there's no way that can happen. There's no way KLD, there's no way Stuart Donald's got more of a stake in this. Absolutely not. Um, but when I've supported the club for nearly 40 years, and even though I've got naught to do with the business side of it, your sixth sense knows. Your sixth sense knows that there's something ain't right. When we appointed Jack Ross, I knew straight away then, um, this ain't right. I just knew I had a sixth sense that this isn't going to work with Ross. I was correct. I wasn't the only one. There was a lot of other people as well. Um, and then who was after Jack Ross again for with Sunderland? Was it Simon Grayson? Is that who came in after Jack Ross? Because if it is, then that appointment, I also said the same thing. I also said, "Who's this? He looks like more like Alf Stewart of Home and Away." And once again, my sixth sense kicked in. We're not going to deal out with this fella. You just know. Weller says Parkinson, but even Parkinson, we all knew there and then. Like, who's this? Who's Parkinson? And then we get fucking Lee Johnson. Once again, I looked at the news and I went, Lee Johnson? Who the fucking hell's Lee Johnson? I mean, if I'm stupid, I'd never heard of him because I hadn't. You know, that's how low of a profile of a manager or coach he is. Once again, I said this is going to end in tears, and I was right yet again. I had that feeling. For the size of Sunderland Football Club, Sunderland FC, we need a manager with a big presence. We need a manager with a big personality, the likes of a Peter Reid, a Big Sam, a Roy Keane. Those three managers have been successful with Sunderland, even though it was short-lived with Big Sam. But they had presence, and you need a personality and a big presence to manage this club of ours. I mean, you look back to that Everton game when we beat them 3-0 and we put the Mags down. What a connection we had. It was brilliant, wasn't it? And so unlucky that Y Hodgson, he was just disastrous for England. And of course, we all know what happened with Big Sam. And then David Moyes came in. And so I was surprised it went so bad with David Moyes, to be quite honest with you, because I don't even think he's that bad of a manager that what we thought what he was when he was with us. And now we've got Alex Neil. And he impressed me, Alex Neil, when he came out and he said he could spot straight away. I mean, Lee Johnson never said this, and the other previous managers have said this. And Alex Neil said there's such a mismatch on that pitch. You got a bunch of kids out there that are knackered, and you've got a lot of mature players that have just about past the sell by date. It is a total mismatch on that pitch. It's like a circuit board with all the wires that are broken. There's nothing connected there. I mean, people thinking, oh, them young lads, they'll be fit. They can run and run and run, but it's not just about physical fitness, especially with the kids. It's the mental strength as well. They're taking a lot on. They're going out on that pitch. Sometimes when there's been like nearly 40,000 there, there's a lot of pressure on them kids' shoulders, and we're putting them on that field week in, week out, week in, week out. And it's not right. Patrick Ward, they cleverly said Pink Pants had 5%, and I thought the other two twats had 5 too. So I generally thought KLD had 85%. We all did. We all did. Hi to Don't Call Me Mackham, SAFC. Find what you love and let it kill you. Yeah, absolutely. We've suffered for years, but you love the club, and we just constantly want just the best for our club. That's all we want. Um, Lee Johnson's nickname was Streaky. Says it all. Yeah, well, we all knew about that, didn't we? Um, Weller, hello, welcome to the chat, Weller. Yeah, thanks for Tim Parkinson. Um, Nigel Dunwell said DJ, a lot of pressure on the kids. Yeah, of course it is, isn't it? It's the kids with sport, in all kinds of sport, your mental strength sometimes is more important than your physical strength. Because if you're not confident up here, then your game's all over the place. The kids need managed properly. They haven't got anyone to look up to. Really, as a manager, they haven't got anyone to look up to on the pitch when they're playing. We haven't got that Kevin Ball type leader, that Lee Catmull type leader. It's just get out there, kids, and we need you to do your stuff. It's not healthy for them. It's wrong. DJ Dave bumped into a Burnley supporter in a pub in Skipton at the weekend, and he asked, "What the hell's going on at your club?" And he's not the only person to say that as well. I didn't have an answer, so sad. He said, "Your support deserves better." And yeah, to be fair to a lot of supporters, um, they have said the same thing. I've seen the videos when we got beat 6-0 at Bolton, and Thogden was getting interviewed, and a lot of them have said, the genuine fans have said, it's like, this isn't right for your club. They all know we're too big for this division, and it's not wrong. And other supporters can see it, that there's something badly wrong here. If they can see it, then definitely we can. Don't call me Mackham. Some people have never supported Sunderland. What truly horrible lives they must lead. Yeah, I know. They must be really, really happy. Yeah, they don't have to put up with shy like this every single year. Do you know my first time of supporting Sunderland? Um, I mean, I live in Carlisle now, but I'm born and bred in Sunderland. Was in the mid-80s. I actually supported Liverpool because I was a kid then. I was only about 7 year old. I was one of these armchair supporters where Liverpool dominated the 80s, the Kenny Dalglish's and all that in their team, and I followed them, and it was great watching them, and I was in awe with them. And I remember when they went to Roker Park, and I was too young to go to the games, and I was chuffed to bits because Liverpool beat Sunderland 3-0. Can't remember what year it was. And then I remember my mum and dad taking us to Roker Park, the park with the pond, not the football ground. And I had a net to go fishing for little sticklebacks, and there was a match on in the background. I could see the floodlights behind the houses, and I just heard this massive like, yeah, let's get raw, and it was like a shockwave of an explosion. Then this raw, and then my hairs just stood on my arms and everywhere in the back of my neck. And this old fella who was walking his sausage dog Yorkshire Terrier around, he went, "Oh, there we go, they've scored." And ever since that moment, I looked over my shoulder at those floodlights, and I wanted to be inside that stadium. I wanted to be in Roker Park. I want to see what's going on in there. And that's when I caught the Sunderland virus. That was when I caught the Sunderland virus without a shadow of a doubt. And my first ever match at Roker Park was Sunderland boys. I got tickets with my junior school. Was Sunderland boys against Liverpool boys, and we lost 3-0 at home, and then my first league game was Sunderland against Carlisle, and we drew 2-2 with Carlisle, and the goal scorers for Sunderland was Proctor and Alan Kennedy. I remember it well. Was it Mark Proctor and Alan Kennedy? So if anybody was at that game, I don't know if you're old enough. And yeah, from that day onwards, we've just been affected since from then, and it's just such a shame. It's just such a shame the way things are. But it's going to be interesting to definitely see what's happening and what the answers will be tomorrow. Manchester United have beaten Brighton by a goal to nil. Division 1 results: Burton 3, Bolton 1, Lincoln 0, Doncaster 1, Wigan 2, Crew 0. Champions League, we have Sporting 0, Man City 5, PSG 1, Real Madrid 0. So just a quick thing before I go, we're going to see if there's anything on social media. Yeah, Grant Ledbetter on Instagram. This is going to be mirrored. You probably can't see that, but that's an Instagram from Grant Ledbetter, who was on Soccer AM on last Saturday, and that's what that actually says is, if you want to be trusted, be honest. And that's Grant Ledbetter, a cracking servant to the club. Running, and someone has commented underneath. Brian has commented saying, running the club into the ground, these con men, it's the loyal supporters who suffer. So, as KLD burnt his bridges, can he not be trusted anymore? Should he have come out with this and said it from day one? And, if you've not been trusted and the damage has been done, is it irreparable? Is it time to look again for a new owner that can be trusted, or does KLD deserve the chance? Will he buy the other three out and get full strength, get full hold of the club for good? No. Is everybody sick of hearing my voice? My wife's just said, yeah. You gonna make me a cup of tea? Oh, well, that'd be busy. Oh, there we go then. Don't call me Macam. I've read that comment. Patrick Ward. Do you believe the excuse the young players are physically tired? I remember I could run about for hours at a young age. Obviously not like they do, but I wasn't being paid thousands a week. Yeah, I mean, I was the same. I played football at Hilton Road playing fields. I was out. God, I was ran, but didn't have the mental pressure. It was a kickabout. But imagine having that mental pressure in your mind as well. It's a total different ball game. The mad moderator, Patrick Ward, my wife is project manager at her Swiss headquarters, and during COVID, she was working at home and seeing how she was some days and just sat at a desk with all the extra stress. Patrick Ward, I think KLD was turned over by the three amigos. I mean, don't get me wrong, KLD is just a youngin', isn't he? I mean, he's like, he's still learning the game himself, isn't he? No cup of tea. Hey, no cup of tea. Someone says I need a new wife. Get else bells. It's not good, is it? Patrick Ward, agree. Don't call me Macam. I remember night matches in the fall will end in the 70s, packed in the smell of freshly cut turf, mixed with the smell of piss, and the mince pies, and the bovril, and the oxo. But I tell you what, I would have Roker Park back just like that. It was magic place, absolute magic place. It was walking up to Roker Park and on a cold night, and it was like so hazy, and you could see the white haze where the floodlights were. You were about 2 miles from the ground, but you could see. It was just magic when it's a total different feeling to the stadium light. and I full end. I was more in the rocker end, but the full end was definitely a great place. I remember the little gold cards as well, the gold memberships. So it's I. But before you go, Patrick says, I heard we have a hybrid pitch now. Is this true? I don't know. Um, all I know is we've got an absolute shite pitch. It's been awful. I mean, I remember looking at the the away fans. First thing they commented on the mobile phones was, "God, how bad is that pitch?" You know, Dave Harris, welcome to the chat, mate. What players would you keep for next season? Good question, Dave. Well, I think McGeady's done. Obviously, Jermaine Defoe's had his day, hasn't he? Um, God, who would you keep for next season? It's such a tricky one. I definitely think we need better goalkeepers. I would say Bailey Wright is worth hanging on to. Um, Definitely some of the kids, the likes of Dan Neal. Once he's had a break, I think he's worth hanging on to. Um, Stewart, would I keep Stewart? He's been so quiet, Stewart, the last 5 or 6 games, hasn't he? He's been non-existent. Um, I don't know. I don't know if I would keep Stewart or not. I mean, he has shown he's decent, but like I said, the way the club is at the moment, I'm not surprised all players are really underperforming at the moment. Um, Ross Stewart, he's just non-existent, isn't he? But Charlie White was like that. Charlie White went a few weeks, couple of months without scoring goals and didn't know he was on the pitch, and all of a sudden he just got to get brace. But if we ever got KLD as a proper full outright owner and them three stooges had fucked off and they'd gone, then you'll just see a completely different ball game. I think you would have a different manager. I think we'd have different players. I think it'd be a completely clean slate when Stuart Donald and them has completely gone. I think it'll just be right across the board, getting a bigger razor, rubbing it all out, and I think it'll be starting afresh from the KLD way, and that's when we'll see what KLD is actually made from. Um, but until then, we cannot have Stuart Donald anywhere near this club or Salmon Pants anywhere near this club for next season if we're in this division, because if we are, we'll be in this division continuously. We'll not go anywhere if they're still there. Um, Loved Roker Park, says Mad Moderator. Still have my first program when my old man took me as a baby. Victor Thurwell, how you doing, Victor? Nice to join in, mate. And mind, just let you know if anybody can subscribe to the channel, and much appreciate. I've just really started, to be honest with you. And I've also teamed up with Anthem Mackin. We've got a new weekly show called the Sunderland AFC Monday night football, and we're going to be discussing things, me and Ant, every Monday at 8 o'clock. Sunderland things, all good, all creatures great and small, all good and bad. The whole lot. It'll be good. That's our new show. The Paddocks for me, he was a Paddocks lad. The Mad Moderator DJ Dave, I was in Jockland. My mate was ref, so I had tickets at Inverness. Got Brovel from a Romanian wife. She was like, you drink this. DJ Dave, we should have an amazing pitch. The shite that's been played on at the last few seasons. Well, we used to have a fantastic pitch, didn't we? It was like a carpet. That's just everything's just rotten to the core. Gio Von Murray, welcome on board. Keep the ball boys till next season. Well, absolutely. I mean, isn't there a tea lady that Keano used to give money to every week, while every time they played at home? Keep her, get her on the pitch. Oh, Mad Moderator Stewart has been okay for the service he's got. You can't knock Stewart's work rate. That's what I'm saying. You could have more Salah in that front lineup, and he's not going to get anything, is he, from that squad? DJ Dave, haha, moderator, good times. Patrick Ward says, enjoyed this, mate. Sorry I talk too much. Not chat away. It's nice for you to all join in. And I'm pleased with the viewers I've got as well. I'm just starting off. But yeah, it's the merry-go-round of Sunderland Football Club. So I will knock it on the head for there. I will say thanks for every single one of you up there for joining in and making it worthwhile. And there's going to be more twists and turns to come yet. Hello, Mark Hetherington. Agreed to knock Ross. He agrees. Mark Hetherington agrees to kick Ross into touch. But I think before we can judge anything, we need to sort this ownership carry on out, because until we do, then nothing on that pitch is going to be right. We need to sort out upstairs first. We need to get shot of them three properly, and that's when you'll start to see it happening on the pitch. Of course, it will. So let's just see what happens tomorrow. It's going to be interesting. So I'll say good night. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we will catch you on. I might do a stream this Saturday, so I'll probably do a live stream, a watch along when we play MK Dons. You're welcome to join, and of course I'll be doing a Monday Night Football show with Anth the Macam next Monday. So good night, sweet dreams, and let's see what's happening in this Sunderland soap opera tomorrow. Good night, sleep, take care, bye.